Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video.
This week in Apple news, we heard official confirmation about the delay of the iPhone 12, new product leaks, Apple's quarterly earnings, and much, much more. But before we get into all of that, I do want to let everyone know that this past week in a couple of our videos, we took a look at the iPadOS 14 best features, and we took a look at my desk setup that's behind me. And if you're interested in any of those two videos, you can check them out by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Starting off with Apple's quarterly earnings, in which the company totaled a whopping $59.7 billion of revenue earned for the quarter. Now, this might surprise some of you out there due to the global pandemic and all, but yes, Apple still managed to have a very good quarter, with both iPad and Mac seeing a double-digit growth during that quarter. Mac sales brought in $7 billion, up from $5.8 billion in the year-ago quarter, while iPad sales brought in $6.5 billion, up from $5 billion. Apple CEO Tim Cook said that these strong sales were achieved in spite of significant supply constraints that have limited the availability of certain iPads and Macs over the course of the last few months. Tim Cook also noted that iPhone sales still saw a 2% growth despite many Apple stores being shut down around the world during this quarter. Demand for the iPhone did increase in May and June due to the very successful release of the low-cost $399 iPhone SE. The iPhone ultimately brought in $26.4 billion, up from $26 in the year-ago quarter, marking a 2% growth. Apple brought in $59.7 billion in total, marking a new June quarter record. Apple's services, which include iTunes, the App Store, the Mac App Store, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, etc., also saw major growth this quarter. In fact, Apple services brought in $13.2 billion, up over $2 billion from the $11.5 billion earned in the third quarter of 2019. Tim Cook said that Apple's record third quarter earnings were largely due to the double-digit growth in both products and services. Now, on to some not so great news, or at least semi-bad news. I don't know, it's not that big of a deal, but for those of you hoping to get a new iPhone 12 in mid-September, Apple officially confirmed yesterday that phones will be slightly delayed. On the earnings call, Apple CFO said last year the company started selling iPhones in late September, but this year, Apple projects supplies will be available a few weeks later. Multiple rumors have suggested that Apple's iPhones will not be available in the typical September timeline, with delays to be expected, and some rumors have indicated Apple could release its new iPhone 12 lineup in October, though we are still likely to see the phones introduced in September. So all of that information really didn't catch us off guard completely, but we do have the official confirmation that it's going to be just a few weeks later. In fact, earlier in the week, John Prosser said that new iPhones would in fact be delayed by a few weeks, but also said along with the new iPhone 12, we can expect to see new iPads in October as well. Prosser did not provide insight into which iPad models will see the refresh, but there have been some rumors suggesting an iPad Pro with mini LED displays that is in the works, though most information suggests that that launch has been delayed until 2021. So if that launch is also delayed and the iPad Pro was already refreshed this year, that would leave potentially the iPad mini, the iPad Air, or the lower cost iPad to receive a minor revamp. Prosser also posted a tweet squashing rumors that a new iMac could launch as early as this week, but he did say that if you wanted a new iMac without the rumored redesign, to keep an eye out for August. For those clamoring for a new iMac, they might be coming sooner than later, but if you're holding out for that new redesign, you just might have to wait a bit longer. And finally, our last major news story from this week is that Apple is exploring use of an accessory that would allow two iPads to connect together for a notebook-style computer. This patent application, titled Modular Multiple Display Electronic Devices, was filed, and it explains that when two iPads or iPhones are connected together via this accessory, one could be used as the display and the other as a dynamic keyboard. The envisioned coupling accessory, it consists of two small connectors and a hinge, with mobile devices attaching mechanically to either side. The connector would facilitate data transfers between the devices so that they could work in unison as one system. There's a lot of information about this, and you can read more about this story linked in the description down below, but I would love to know your thoughts on something crazy like this, because this doesn't seem like, at least in my opinion, something that Apple would create, but it looks like they're looking into that opportunity. So I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. In quick headlines, Apple received over a dozen Emmy nominations for its Apple TV Plus originals, like Central Park, Defending Jacob, Elephant Queen, The Beastie Boys Story, and The Morning Show. And speaking of The Morning Show, one of the stars of that show, Mark Duplass, did confirm that the show is currently going through rewrites for season 2 to reflect the current situation going on in the world with the global pandemic. If you're interested in seeing what the rumored 5.4-inch iPhone 12 might feel like in your hands, we've created a few images that would reflect what that smaller iPhone model might feel like. So if you want to check those out, click that article in the description down below. And finally, for those who are looking ahead at the new Apple Watch Series 6, that new smartwatch is expected to add blood oxygen monitoring to its feature list when it's launched later this year, according to a new report from DigiTimes. So that's it. These are our top headlines and stories for the week. And of course, just like every week, I would love to know your thoughts on everything that we talked about in this video, or maybe another interesting story that we might have missed in the comments down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.